All right, before we talk about anything fat loss, discipline, or routine, I need you to understand something. God never intended for your life to be exhausted, inconsistent, and controlled by your cravings. Even the Wingstop, He created you with purpose, clarity, and with the ability to master your flesh so that your spirit can lead your life, not the other way around. Most fitness plans miss that. They only focus on calories, workouts, and willpower. And I'm pretty sure you know by now that they ignore the part where it actually drives your choices, your spirit, your habits, and the identity that God called you to walk in. So no matter how good the plan is, you can't seem to stick with it. And that's why the daily deposit method exists. It's not just another plan. It's a system that rebuilds you from the inside out. A system that strengthens your body without losing your soul. With some soulless cardio. It's a system rooted in discipline, stewardship, and honestly honoring your vessel that God trusted you with, your utmost responsibility. Because the problem was never that I was never consistent enough or I wanted bad enough. The real problem was that I never had a structure that aligned with my faith, my habits, my health, my lifestyle, just all in one that I could actually sustain in the middle of life's chaos and working and social life. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly why the daily deposit has transformed many men and women's lives in the past years of just always having to restart. Why they finally built consistency, not by just being more disciplined and hunkering down, but how their bodies actually changed, their minds quieted, and their spiritual life strengthened right alongside their physical strength. So this is where your breakthrough starts, right here. So let's get into it. Full breakdown that we're going to hop right into. This is my own transformation following the daily deposit method. The system actually works. This is a fat recomp that I did, body recomp, where I wanted to keep my muscle, lose some fat. I was able to accomplish this in 120 days. And I'm not going to start any of this without first showing some proof that this works for others other than just myself, right? These are all transformation that took place in 12 weeks or less. So you really just need 90 days of following a proven system. Now Jay lost 28 pounds in 30 days. Completely crazy. This was another great body recomp. Even if you're already fit, this is a great way to get even fitter. And my guy, she's the queen, but he's the king. He lost 24 pounds in 30 days. I believe 22.5, 24, around that range. But this is proven to work, not just for me, but man, woman, he, she, them, they, whatever you want to go by, it works. So phase one is what we're going to start off with. I have this whole map already programmed out, but for today, we're hopping into phase one, which is the first 90 days, which is focusing on reclaiming and reset. We really want to focus on this prime stage of stabilizing our metabolism, rebuilding consistency, and regulating our hunger hormones so that we can heal our relationship with food. The biggest thing is that you've tried keto, you've tried so many other things, and we'll get to that nutrition part, especially with food. But the reality is you haven't been able to be consistent, which is the most frustrating thing. It's not a desire thing. It's not a discipline issue. It's really, we'll get to it. We'll come back to that. Let's start with the exercise. So exercising, we're going to start here because this is really the most simplest part. Believe it or not, this is the part that most people freak out on most because they're like, what do I do? How do I do it? For exercise, we're going to incorporate 3 to 4 strength trainers per week, focusing on main compound movements, squats, deadlifts, presses, and pulls, with a minimum of 2 cardio sessions per week. And just keeping it low intensity. So walking or cycling for 30, 40 minutes. And the way this is going to look like, I wrote this out. So for example, if this was push, pull, hinge, squat, lunge, these are the foundational movements that we'll do every single week. Every program that you'll ever do will incorporate at least one of these movements. And sometimes when you see those little combo flimsy movements like a squat curl, please don't do those because you can always squat more than you can curl and it doesn't make any sense. They go off of these prime movers: push, pull, hinge, squat, lunge. Only 5 movements you do. You can't reinvent the wheel. Everyone has to do these. And how I would program this out is you could do push and pull Monday, and then Wednesday you do hinge and squat, and then you'll do lunge on Friday, and you can add an accessory. So meaning if you want to work on your chest, you can add another push, half push day. So you can add some push movements in there. But every of these sessions, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, the goal is to have at least 2 of these movements. And I would say the second movement would be whatever your goal is to be able to get a solid body. You don't need more than 3 days and you're really just running a full body. And that's really what this is. If you wanted to, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you're running at least 2 exercises from each of these. 2 push exercises, 2 pull, hinge, squat, and lunge. So now let's go into the nutrition part of things. Like I mentioned, this is the part where most people, I feel like most times underestimate. They worried about working out, they want to be cardio junkies, but really, how you eat will dictate at least 80% of your success in what you see. And that's for the free. I didn't even charge you for that one. But nutrition is going to be the name of the game. I call this a king's plate because this is a faith based approach, right? I want you to think of how Jesus ate. When you open up your word in your Bible, he ate fig, he ate fish, he ate bread, he ate of the earth. And then we're going to be doing the same exact thing. We're going to be so Christ like in this. So you see Taylor daily expenditure. You probably heard this calorie deficit buzzword. You're probably sick and tired of hearing this buzzword. But we're actually going to put some verbiage to it, some visuals to it. This is exactly how you're going to understand how to calculate your calories. I'm going to show you step by step. So this is going to be a manual equation so that we can understand where we're starting from. So we're going to calculate our approximate maintenance first. So we'll take our weight. In this example, we're doing a 150-pound person. We'll multiply by 14. We'll get the calories. Then we're going to take the amount of calories and we're going to multiply by zero point 0.8 to get what our maintenance is. We're not going too deep into maintenance. We only need a 20%. If you don't want to be too aggressive yet, 15%. The reason why we don't want to be so aggressive off the rip is because if you go shoot down from 2,100 calories to, let's say, 1,400 calories, you're going to hit a plateau. You're going to hit a wall right away. And then not right away, but within 12 to 26 weeks, you'll hit a wall. Your progress is going to come fast, but your wall is going to come just as fast as your progress. So you want to give it steps, like 200, keep going, seeing great results, and then take off another 200 calories and see great results. And you'll see that below as we continue going along the equation. So we have our deficit now, 1680, and then we're going to split our macros based upon that 1680 number. So we're going to do 35% protein, 35% carbs, and 30% fats. Protein is needed for muscle building. Carbs is going to help with our performance so that we can show up to the gym and perform well. Carbs are not the enemy. They help with fueling for recovery. And fats are going to be for hormone production. Great for the fellas to keep your testosterone high, keep you manly. And then for the ladies, you don't want to be cranky. You don't want to be on your period with low fats. This is also the example split of what it would be looking like on a daily basis. So track your calories and your weight for 2 to 3 weeks and see how that responds. See how your hunger hormone responds. Honestly, if progress stalls, like I mentioned, or is too fast, you need to drop another 100 to 150. Or if you're dropping too fast, meaning you're dropping 4 pounds in a week, you might be celebrating, but you want to add so that you can be slowly taking the fat off. If you are starting from a pretty decent place, everybody's situation is different. I need to focus on getting fat off, keeping muscle. But stay aware of this. Transition to maintenance after your goal is reached, and then you increase your calories back by 100 to 150 per week, and then your weight stabilizes, and you never have to do it again. I know, that's a relief. And this is the manual version of just using a T calculator. So if you went to tddcalculator.net, you could put in your age. We'll do the sample one. And the benefit to doing manually is that you get more control over the numbers. So I'm going to show you an example. You can tweak these macros over here, right? So they have them preset 35-30. But let's say you want to bump up your protein a little bit more or your carbs a little bit more. It makes it that much doable. Plus, they don't have numbers other than what they're set on, which is 500 calories. I wouldn't recommend starting here. This is good for maintenance, and then you still have to go through the ratios to figure out how to work backwards on. So once you have this nutritional part, you have your numbers, ideally what your goal is. This is going to be one of the most helpful tools I'd recommend for your success. Now, if you've never tracked your food before, you never food tracked, I wouldn't recommend getting thrown in the fire. I would say trying it at least one meal per day, getting used to tracking. If you're a complete beginner, so that you don't overwhelm yourself, what I like to start people off with is just a plate method, meaning you're going to do a palm full of two palms full of protein, one fistful of carb, one fistful of veggies. Fist, protein. What qualifies as a veggie? Anything green. So broccoli, spinach, collard green, peas, any of those things is what we want to stick to. So in between that, your little snack, you feel me? You're not gonna be eating Cheez-Its. We're not gonna do none of that. We're not gonna do none of the Cheez-Its. We're going to do protein. Protein can be fun. You're talking about chicken nuggets. You can do grilled, anything that's grilled and not fried, air fry it. I don't care what you do to it. As long as it's not seeping in a batch of oil, have it and enjoy it. The whole premise behind this is being God's food. The daily requirement for Solomon's palace was 150 bushels of choice flour and 300 bushels of meal, right? That's wheat. Also, 10 oxen from the fattening pens, 20 pasture fed, he was grass fed, 100 sheep, 100 goats, deer, gazelles, roe deer, and choice poultry. Come on, USDA choice. Solomon's dominion extended over all the kingdoms, and this is to show his power and authority. Verse 24. Listen, we have a template before us of God's food can be healing. And we're going to dive into now why we're going to stay away from the natural flavors and processed foods and how that affects us, especially with wanting to get better digestion so that we're not bloated and having big old guts poking out our outfits. Because that's really going to affect our lifestyle part, especially when it comes to sleep and mood. Believe it or not, it could be really near fatal, but we'll come back to that. So look here. Here's where we're going to start. We're going to start with this emotional side. When you have cravings, emotionally, craving versus hunger. How can you tell the difference? Now, types of food wanted. We're going to start here. Let's start with the indicator, just the onset feeling. Cravings are sudden and intense. They just blindside you. You just minding your business, probably typing up something. You're at work. Boom. I want a triple cheeseburger, smash burger with extra fries and pickles. That's a craving. Hunger, slowly but surely, you're like, oh, shoot. I think I'm kind of hungry. Oh, I'm kind of hungry. And it slowly comes to you. The types of food you want is very specific. I want a pepperoni pie, cheese in the crust, oregano with Parmesan on. You're doing the whole thing. You know exactly how you want it. When you're hungry, you don't care what you're eating. When you're starving, it does not matter. Where it starts, craving starts in the mind. Hunger is felt in the stomach. Now, emotional triggers, hunger doesn't have any mood tied to it. Meanwhile, you already know cravings can be from stress. When you get home from a long day, you want something nice to eat. The satisfaction comes after eating. I remember for me, all of these hit for me. I was a big craving person. I went towards my emotions. It was impulsive. I was just grabbing a beer, something cold from work because I just wanted to. And that's where my biggest downfall was, because I was allowing my flesh to dictate what I ate. My cravings were so loud, I couldn't even block them out. And that is the most frustrating feelings of wanting to be disciplined, wanting to be locked in. But every time I wanted to, my cravings would be so loud. I felt like I had no control over myself, when really it was a mental battle because I wasn't processing my emotions and stress properly. And the stress I was having at the time really was work, having a job, coming home, social life, dealing with family. Being from a first generation Haitian household is never fun because it just be all up in your business. And honestly, it was just a lot of impulses and cravings. But now there's a clear distinction of understanding what a craving is and what a hunger is. So also, when you do have cravings, the deeper thing behind them is what is missing. Because when I was all the way back over here, my diet was not a whole foods diet. I wasn't having the king's plate. I was nowhere close to it. I was trying to look like a king, if anything. And when you aren't having whole foods, you're going to be easily deficient in magnesium, chloride. Let's go back to the and see more. Calcium, silicon, nitrogen, carbon, phosphorus, and all these things that you're craving, like chocolate or sugary foods, breads, pasta, and carbs, you could be getting from whole foods. Protein, cheese, raisins, sweet potatoes, spinach. This is God's food that He intended to be able to heal us. But like any other sin in this world, we make an exchange. That's what I was doing a lot of time in this part of life. I was frustrated for not being consistent because I just kept making exchanges for the quick fixes. Oh, I'll just stop for something real quick. And I was doing that in my dating life, financially. Every part of my life was showing up in the same way I looked externally, reflected internally. I always wanted to find a shortcut, a quick fix, and I never wanted to really solve the root cause. And that's exactly what we're talking about with these cravings. Instead of scratching the itch, giving yourself the chocolate, the sugary food, why don't you get to the root of it and permanently fix your cravings? Because sugar, especially, is an addiction. Oh, yeah, now we in business. Sugar addiction is a cycle that is so hard to break out of. I was under it. Many of my clients, even the best ones, start off with it because you like it, you crave it, and they're made highly palatable, meaning that you eat it and melts in your mouth. It's an experience. It's literally out of a laboratory. It's made to get your attention and not let you go. Come here, where you going? So from that, scientifically, what creates this dopamine is that your blood sugars start to spike. So now your blood sugars spike, your insulin goes up, uh, um, to regulate your blood sugar, and now your blood sugar rapidly falls. So now you lose the sugar high because now your body's trying to even itself out. And now that you have lower blood sugar levels, now you have a bigger appetite. Now you have more cravings, and now the cycle repeats itself. And then you get stuck in this cycle. And eventually, this is how diabetes get developed. It seems like an extreme thing, but it's hard to break out this cycle. And if you're in it right now, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You get a taste for something. It's not just sweets. It can be carbs, even just simple sugars. So carbs with no fiber. So spaghetti, white refined sugar breads that have, when you read it, it says refined flour, bleached. If you see enriched on the back of a pasta label, this is the cycle that you're stuck in, and it's going to be very, very hard to get out of. So we want to end this cycle by fixing it at the root. Chicken, beef, eggs. How should you prepare it? As long as it's not fried. So yes, you can have chicken wings. Get some lamb chops. Have fun with this. Eat whole foods. No matter where you start off, you can't lose by eating whole foods. There's only so much of it you can eat. I remember I had a client, she was like, yo, I'm so hungry. I just ate a whole tub of peanut butter. I won't tell you who it is. I ate a whole tub of peanut butter. And I'm like, man, if you I want you tomorrow to sit down, get two big old chicken breasts and take 3 sweet potatoes, and I want to take a bag full of frozen broccoli, steam it up, salt and pepper it, season everything up however you want. Eat that and let me know if you're still hungry. Next day, she was like, oof, I haven't been this full in months. Most times you're hungry because you're not eating like a full enriched micronutrients with protein, with carbs, and it's only leaving you to be depleted. Now, you have this reference, right? 2 palms full of protein, carbs, and veggies to start off. If you're a really beginner, that's all you want on your plate every time. And anytime you snack, you want it to be a protein source. And for my advanced people, I want you to be using this scale right over here, right? This scale is going to be the promised land for you to get exact. If you do random things, you get random results. You do specific things, you get specific results. Now, let's hop into the lifestyle, right? How your nutrition is going to affect your lifestyle is your energy levels. They're going to soon tank because of how you eat. And if they haven't already, no, they're probably will if you're watching this. I mean, you're here for your sleep quality is going to, I have another hack for you. It's going to be determined by using this website called sleepytime.cc. This is something I personally use every single night. I recommend to my clients is also change their sleep quality. And you're going to wake up feeling completely different. You think I'm overselling this, then use it tonight. So you can start with what time you want to wake up, or what time you want to go to bed, or if you're around that bedtime, just hit sleep now. For me, I'm waking up at 3:45 a.m. All right, let's punch that in, and it tells me how I could be within this green. I will always recommend at the very least to be in this yellow, but ideally we want to be in green. So be in bed by 6:30 p.m., 8 p.m., and at the latest 9:30. I was sometimes getting only 3 cycles, and I did not feel well. So I've been doing a better job getting at least 4 cycles of sleep. That's what you want to look, not the hours. How many cycles of sleep are you having? So this is going to be a game changer. Take it down. Sleepytime.cc completely changed the game for me. Now, walking a minimum of 8,000 steps. This is a non-negotiable. The one thing that you can control in your life is your activity. Because there's no way you're telling me that you can go to the bathroom a couple times a day, you can get up, go eat, grab lunch, and you can't hit 8,000 steps a day. It's because you can just pace around. You can call up a friend. You could do some of your work if you're especially at home walking. You can get a walking pad. If a $100 walking pad feels like too much, then I want you to revisit your last vacation or look at your last banking statement and look at what you spent $100 on. If you can't even spend $100 for your own health and wellness, then this you probably should just click on the video now. Walking is doable. Everybody can walk. So if you're not getting a minimum of 8,000 steps a day, you need to change your lifestyle as a whole, especially if you're driving. My biggest, hardest transition, the reason why I got to this place, honestly and genuinely, was because I started going to school upstate New York and I was driving. This is when I first got my car and I'm driving anywhere. My campus wasn't that big, so I didn't have to really walk much, but everywhere was driving. I was barely walking. And the lifestyle switch was super hard on me. And the only way I really got a transformation like this, like his, like hers, especially going to the gym like that, was by walking. The easiest ever. If you think you have to just go off on an hour walk, you're missing the point. What I love to recommend is a 30-minute, three 30-minute walks throughout the day. And that can be your devotional time, right? That's you going and speaking to God in the morning, going on your lunch break, going for a cooler, just leaving your phone, going for your mental health. It's active meditation where you can actually get away from the day and reset in your mind and your soul and get right. Get your head right for a bit. Take 30 minutes to step away and get your steps. It's doable. Even if you pace back and forth. I got 5,000 in the it got cold here and I paced back and forth. I got 5,000 in here. You don't have to do anything crazy. I was just on my phone, tapping away, doing a little bit of work, client updates, and got 5,000. There is no excuse. Now, we're going to talk about these performance indicators. How do you know if you're on the right track? Right after we talk about the mindset. This is a pivotal part because most of this information I feel like you probably know, but you didn't get this part of applying, how to apply it, how to find your calorie deficit, how to eat within a calorie deficit, how to do it, how to put together a workout plan, because that's all this really is. Once you come up with this, you're going to be running it for at least 12 weeks and sticking to the same movements. Yes, it gets boring. Don't switch it up. You need to be progressively overloading, meaning just adding weight or more reps. We can save that for part 2 because that's what month 2 is all about in that rebuilding phase. But phase 1, we just want to get consistent. First 90 days, we just need to be consistent and we're going to get a whole lot of wins. This is the mindset part. You need to, in the first 90 days, you need to set this for yourself. Life is going to show up. It's 90 days. You think life is not going to show up to your door and be like, hey, somebody's sick. You're sick. Here's some BS from work. Some bull junk, some bull jive. Like, you need to know why you're doing this. And this is a technique I give all my when they're starting off so they know how to identify what they're really doing this for. What is their initial goal? Ask yourself why each time. So this is not a new question. Why do I want to lose weight? To have more energy. Well, why do I want to have more energy? To play actively with my kids. Why do I want to play with my kids? Why do I want to be active with them? To be present in their lives. And then you're going to keep diving deeper. Why is these things important to you? Until you get to a powerful statement to break generational patterns and give my children a better foundation. That hits. If you don't have kids, don't even use this. If you're not even married, don't even use this because kids are not even a reality to you yet. You need to use something that is actually in your life. Who are you in your identity? What fitness usually misses is that it never speaks to the core of who they are. I know for me, I used to watch so many videos. I used to go on YouTube, watch Athlete X, and just take all these notes. I used to go on bodybuilding.com. If you've been around for a while, you know this website. And I remember just reading articles on articles, how to get the best biceps, triceps, diamond push-ups, decline, and all these things I was learning and never created an identity in me to actually even be consistent and show up in the first place. All I was doing was getting a whole bunch of information, not knowing what to do with it, just falling off altogether. The reason why people have consistency and discipline issues is because there's an identity of crisis. And it started all the way back in the garden. When you open this thing up and you go back to Genesis, You see how Eve got deceived in her identity. Satan, the enemy, was able to show her that she was in lack, that you're missing out on something. And because she really believed, oh, wow, I'm not having all that I can, she believed the lie. She fell for the bait. That is the same bait that we fall with today, especially when it comes to food. We think, let me speak from personal experience. I remember when Popeyes came out with the chicken sandwich, it felt like I needed it. It felt like I was going to go through hell and back because it was this hot commodity to be a part of the wave. I felt like I was missing out. I had it, and of course, it never lives up to the hype. I heard about these restaurants, especially moving to Dallas, about these barbecue spots, and they are amazing. And I'm so excited and hyped. And I'm like, yes, I'm going to have it, but it lets you down every time. You need to find a why that's concrete to your identity. And for me, first getting married, it was definitely my wife. My why was I wanted to build a body that was a pleasure to look at for her, a pleasure for her to have and to enjoy. Over time, other things popped up where that wasn't getting me going. And I realized I needed something even more solid and rooted in who I am that is never changing. And that is God. God is the one thing I know that I completely owe it all to. And going through scripture, seeing that my body was paid for a price. Jesus sacrificed on the cross. He died for me. My body was paid for. And I think about all these expensive things I have. I have this light set up. I have this laptop in front of me. I try to take care of them as best as I can because they're worth so much. Not just in monetary value, but to me, to be able to even do this video. So I take care of them as best as I can. So how much does that say so much for my body? What am I buying? What am I feeding into it? And I became more conscious and aware of that. I need to use God's food to heal me. I don't want to wait till there's medication involved. And this will really snap me out of this trance. God literally helped me understand that I only have one life to live. And depending how I approached it was going to determine the quality that I experienced it. And most times there's a lot of what should I be eating? What should I be doing? And it's as simple as eating his food and walking with him, literally. Walk with him. Go on long walks with him like you would do with a friend. If your mom called you in the middle of a crowd, you would know her voice because you spent years with her. And for some reason, you think your 15-minute devotional, you would know his voice. Dang. Well, listen, this is the value that you have. You need to know your why. It's that important. Because if you do all these things correct, and you don't even have to be perfect in any of this, but if you show up and be consistent instead of thinking that you need to be intense, intensity never wins. Consistency does. All people had bad days. They had days where they didn't wake up. They had days where they didn't do the best on their protein, but they still did steps. They still ate some type of protein, at least 90 grams. And if you do this within the first month, you should lose at least 4 pounds, which is 1 pound per week, which is great. On average, my clients lose 6 to 7 pounds per month, especially month one, at least 80% of the time. Meaning if you have 30 days in a month, 22 out of those days, you're hitting your protein target. That leaves so much space for error. Exercise consistency, at least 10 strength sessions and 4 cardio sessions. 10 strength sessions is two workouts a week and 1 cardio session per week. Listen, I'm going to give you this last one for the water intake. You could just look up a daily water intake calculator. What this is going to do is take your age, gender, height, weight, and also what are you eating? So like it'll help understand if you have how much more or how much less water you need. It'll help you specify your water intake. But a good general rule of thumb is half your body weight in ounces of water. But this is a full breakdown. If you enjoy this, I'm going to be putting part 2. Oh, I forgot one more thing. I'm going to come back to it. But part 2 is going to include this month's 2 rebuilding process here. And it's also going to be going within recomp. This is something that I only like to put out due to request. So if you find this helpful, let me know. The last part that I didn't want to forget was definitely part